couple of minutes. Jennifer's not here yet. I hadn't heard from her, so I don't know if she got caught in traffic or something. We can get started now. Open meeting. Clerk, do the roll call, please.
Okay. Gutierrez? Jansen, Thayer?
Here.
Wilson?
Here.
Seifert?
Here.
Hausen?
I'm here.
Miller here. Quorum.
Could you stand for the pledge, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you do the roll call now.
We're here.
I had three things on my mind. I was in overload. So. All right, the adoption of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the adoption of the agenda presented.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the agenda for the evening as printed. Any questions, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. Got an agenda. Approval of the minutes of the May 6, 2015 regular meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 6th, 2015, regular meeting as presented.
Support.
Motion been made and supported to approve the minutes of the May 5th, 2015 meeting. Any questions? Changes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. Public comment. Anyone like to make public comment? Come up to the microphone, please.
Everybody else is bashful. Mike Sukan, Bertrand, Bridgeport, 318 Commerce. I left you all a copy of this week's newsletter because everything in there seems to be about Bridgeport. I wanted to show that we've got everything in there. It's missing, there's snow. Also, I gave a copy of the magazine ads that we purchased for Bridgeport. The one ad has been set for two different magazines. AAA magazine is full-page ad, and the other one is the Canadians Crossing, which is one of the largest tourism magazines with a section promoting Michigan. And then a copy of the billboard for Bridgefest, which is at I-75 and the Flint River. There's approximately 130,000 vehicles that pass that on a weekly basis, and that will run all the way through the end of Bridgefest. So good promotion on that. I plan on wearing my CBD hat tomorrow and going before the Saginaw County Services Committee meeting at 4 o'clock. Once again, requesting the 75% of the accommodation tax, and I will have a full report for you when that meeting is over. If you do not have anything going on and don't have a root canal or something else that might be more pleasant than sitting through County Services Committee meetings, you're more than welcome to join. Other than that, if anybody has any questions or comments.
When is that meeting?
4 o'clock at the county office.
Second floor of the courthouse.
Pardon me?
Second floor of the courthouse.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Would anyone else like to make public comment? Your last chance. You want to make public comment? Public comment is now closed. Unfinished business, we have a cemetery ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve the cemetery ordinance.
Revisions.
Revision as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the cemetery ordinance revisions. Basically, like we talked about before, they just went through and cleaned up some of the language, if you will, and made it a little clearer. For then, anything else, basically that's what you did.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Everybody's had a copy of it, you've read through it, and don't have any questions, I see. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
We would make a roll call. Yes.
Ruth Ann
Aye.
Siemens.
Yes. We can say
Want a
yes.
roll call? We'll do a roll call. Yeah, it's an ordinance, I'm sorry, it's ordinance revision, so.
Secord,
Any
Yes.
corrections?
Wilson,
Yes.
Thayer,
Yes.
Miller, yes. Gutierrez absent. Townsend,
Yes,
motion is carried.
thank you. And I believe now we have, Jimmy or Beth. Yeo Yeo to give us the rundown on the annual audit.
Okay, thank you. Can everyone hear me? Get a little closer. Is that better? You want me to stand up there?
No, you,
You're fine, that's fine.
everybody here okay?
No.
No.
I'll get there. I think I had to do that last. No problem. Is that better?
Pardon?
Is that better? Now I don't know if you're joking or not.
I am.
Okay, so in front of you, I know we say we're paperless, but you have a lot of information. So I'm going to tell you what it is, and then I'll go over a presentation. You should have a large bound copy like this. This is your audited financial statements. Lots of detail in here, footnotes. There's a section 3, and I would advise you to look through that. That's the management discussion analysis. If you're not going to go home and read it cover to cover, definitely try to look at that section. It talks about the changes that happened during the year and some outlooks for next year, and it gives a lot of information kind of summarized into one section for you. You also have a stapled letter. It's a few pages. I will cover this in a few minutes, but this is your governance letter. As your auditor, we're required to report certain things to governance, which is the board, so I'll go over a few sections in that. And today, I'm going to go over, you should have a clear cover on yours. This is the PowerPoint presentation. It really is the highlights from the audit. So I put all the highlights in here, so we'll cover that today. So if you turn to page 2, it talks about the audit opinion. This is really what the Department of Treasury requires every municipality in the state of Michigan to have an audit. And it can only be issued by a licensed CPA firm. And the financial statements really are management's responsibility for the preparation and the fair presentation of the information in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And as your auditor, we come in, we audit that information, and then we give an opinion on it. And that's really what the Department of Treasury is looking at. And the opinion is on page 2-1 in the audited financial statements. It's a few pages long. You were issued an unmodified opinion, which even though that doesn't sound good, that's actually the best opinion you can get. It means there's no material modifications that need to be made to the financial statements and that everything is presented fairly.
Why don't they rename that something nicer then?
You know, our auditors are kind of negative. We don't give you a letter saying you do a good job. We only give a letter of things you can improve on. So I don't make the rules, I just follow them. So.
can't do it.
I'll try. On page 3, now here we're just talking about your general fund. So obviously, the township has a lot of funds. This is, we're gonna focus on your general fund for a few slides and then look at your water and sewer fund. But the next few slides are just your general fund. This is a snapshot of where your revenue is coming from for the year. And remember, it's from January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2014. So looking at that for the year, you can see that 41% of your general fund revenue comes from property taxes, which equates to about $985,000. And then the green section here is your state shared revenue, and about 33% of your total general fund revenue is coming from state shared revenue that you're getting. And then you have some charges for services, and then some licenses, permits, rental income that we kind of just lump into your other income there. And this year too, you have a couple of state grants which came out to 3%. And you can see at the very bottom, I put the page number that you can go to see the detail behind the numbers. I think that was a request last year, so just want to let you know I've added that in there. So if you get home and you want to look up where the information come from, it'll be real easy to go to the bound report, which is this one, and find where I pulled the numbers from. So a question I get a lot is how was that compared to last year? So I did pull up last year's. Your taxes last year was 43% and state shared revenue was 34%. So right in the ballpark where the majority of your revenue is coming from is really the same kind of pockets that we're putting them in this year too. So no major changes there. Any questions on that slide or that page before we move on to the expenditures? Okay, on page 4, again, this is just your general fund, and we're still looking at the general fund expenditures now. And a few things here, public safety, you can see the light blue section at the top there is 51%. So 51% of your general fund expenditures are going to public safety. Police is coming out to about $787,000, and fire is roughly $421,000. So those two added together make up 51% of your general fund expenditures. And then you have the next largest section is general government, which is 29%. That really is a catch-all from the Department of Treasury that we follow. It covers the township board, supervisor, manager, clerk, treasurer, accounting, building and grounds, cemetery. All the extra stuff goes into what they call general government. And again, you can see the detail of that on page 4-8. That makes up your 29%. And then the red section here is public works, and that's 14% of your general fund expenditures. And the majority of that is street lighting, about $125,000. And then you have some highways, streets and bridges expenditures of $95,000, and then the public works category of about $91,000. Then you have a couple other categories that are plus 5% or less too. Any questions on that page? Okay, on page 5, now this is plotting your general fund revenues versus expenditures for the year. And we go back from 2005 all the way through 2014. And I just want to point out at the bottom there, you can see there's a little asterisk that says it does not include operating sources or uses. So if there were transfers in or out of the general fund, we're not going to show them in here. Because this, we want to capture your true operations. So how much revenue is coming in and expenditures, excluding no proceeds if you were to get a loan, and excluding any transfers in or out going to other funds. Because really we say that's the township's money, we're just, moving it around. So overall, you can see that your revenue did exceed your expenditures by about $48,000. And that's what we're showing on this slide. And I forgot to put a page number, let me just tell you what that is so you can see it. That is on 4-8 is where you'll be able to see that at the end of the year, your revenues have exceeded your expenditures by $47,992. Any questions there? Okay, the next slide is the water fund. It was just brought to my attention, we're going to have to look at something on this slide. There were some Baker Road water main work and Town Line Road water main work done last year, and that was not added to the fixed asset schedules, and we were out here for the audit, so we're gonna do some research and look into that to see if that needs to be added and then capitalized and depreciated over its useful life. So that for 2013, how that you can see the expenditures, the red line jumped way up. That includes about $620,000 of expenditures for those two major projects that happened during 2013. So we're gonna check on that. The blue line is your operating revenue, and for your water fund, that came in about $1,444,000. And then the green line there, I always like to look at this and I pull out the depreciation. That's really a non-cash item, it's not cash going out of the township. It's a GAAP requirement that we actually have to depreciate those fixed assets over their estimated useful life. So, you know, if you purchase a car and it's gonna last you 5 years, we're gonna take 1/5 of that and expense it each year instead of taking that whole hit in 1 year. So I like to look at that too. So depreciation for your water fund was about $353,000 that you're required to report, which we have reported in there. And your operating income for the water fund for the year was $36,215. So the revenue had exceeded your expenditures in that fund by about $36,000. Now, there's some non-operating revenue, like interest income, that we have to include in there too. And then if you have any capital contributions, which you had a little bit of about $9,000. So the net overall, the change in the position for your water fund was increased it by $46,353 for the year. Any questions there? And I do put the reference on the bottom again where you can look at that detail on page 4-12. Now, same type of graph, but now we're switching to your sewer operations and looking at your revenue, operating revenue, and then your operating expenses. So in this fund, it was the opposite. The operating expenses was $1,329,000, and then your operating revenue came in at $1,108,000. The depreciation here for the sewer fund is a little bit less. It's about $281,000. So again, you know, if you pulled that number out, you had a loss of $220, but if I pulled out that $281, it would have been, you know, a gain for the year without having to record that depreciation. But obviously we have to follow GAAP, so we do, and we put it in there. And you did this year, though, get some insurance recovery money in the sewer fund of about $381,000. So when we able to add that back in, which we don't classify that as operating because it's not something that happens, you know, year after year, that fund actually had a positive change too of about $170,000. So, but again, a lot of that had to do with your insurance recovery that you ended up getting during 2014. Page 8. Here we're looking at the unassigned fund balance. So at the end of the year, we're looking at your fund balance number, and then we take out anything that is restricted or assigned for a specific use. And on page 4-5, we do have money that is restricted, and you have money that's committed for cemetery, fire safety, road improvements, bond payment, and your government center too. So after you take all that, what's left and what is considered unassigned was $946,210. So you can see that did increase slightly over last year. The unassigned number was $929,000. Any questions there? Now, the last item I'll cover is the letter, and we kind of summarized it here on the slide too, but I'll point out a few things. On the second page of the letter, we're required to report to you if there are any estimates in the financial statements, and there really are two. One, as I kind of stated earlier, is the useful lives of the fixed assets, because when you purchase something, you're kind of guessing how long you're going to use it. And of course, we use prior experience that we've had with the township, and you know, whatever department it's going in, obviously they kind of have a handle on it and know how long things are going to last. So we take their word and look at it, and that's what we are using to depreciate those assets over. As well as you have some post-employment benefits and you have an actuary do the calculation, and those are based on a lot of assumptions too, about expected life. There's the historical insurance costs, there's interest rates in there, so lots of assumptions that are built into that calculation, so we're just required to let you know that that estimate is also included in your financials, and that's on page 2 of the letter. On page 3, there's some new accounting standards that are coming out. GASB 68 is a huge hot topic right now. It will be effective for the township December 31st, 2015, so the audit that you're going to be doing at the end of this year. And what that is requiring is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board is requiring all municipalities and all school districts to report their unfunded pension liability. So the MERS statements that the townships get and then the schools get MIPSers, they're now going to be required to show that liability actually on the financial statements. In the past, it's been a footnote, and we've always known about the liability. It's always been there. Your plan hasn't changed. It's just now we're required to show it as a liability. And a couple of things to point out is it's just going to be on your, what we call government-wide statements. It's not going to be in your general fund or your special revenue funds, but it will be in the sewer and water fund because those are calculated differently than a governmental fund. Those are called full accrual, and we have to show that liability. So just so you know, that's coming. We've put on a couple of trainings on it. I'll have some spreadsheets, and I'll work with Rose and her staff in making sure that that information is in the financial statements for next year and recorded properly. A lot of the information is going to come right from MERS. They've been on top of it. I've attended a few of their trainings, and they're going to be reporting the majority of the information to the various municipalities. So just so you know, it's coming down. There will be a huge liability on the books next year on the government-wide statements. And then we talk about there's some new grant guidance, but luckily for you, you don't have a single audit, so we don't really have to worry about that. That's if you receive federal grant dollars, more than the limit's going to be raised to $750,000. So if you got a lot of federal grant dollars, you have to follow other rules and do some extra reporting, but it hasn't applied to the township now since I've been here. There were no significant difficulties in dealing with management in performing and completing the audit, and there were no uncorrected misstatements that need to be posted as well. And we just had 2 comments. There is a paragraph included in the opinion, and we reference our note number 10 about during review of the fixed assets when we were out here, the township identified that there was some land that was purchased, I think it was back in 2001, and it was reported in the wrong fund. So instead of it being reported in the governmental fund, it needs to be moved to a component unit. So that has since been corrected. It was corrected in this audit, but because we had to restate the financials to show that it was just reported in the wrong fund. So that's noted in the financial statements and in your letter too about the prior period adjustment. And on the last page, there was one matter for management's consideration. That really was just the deficit fund balance that was reported in the sidewalk fund. That was a new fund for the special assessments, and that's just because you don't collect all those special assessments right now, but you do the work right now. So it kind of throws that fund off. But with the state's rules and their numbered letter, it's fine. You don't have to follow a deficit elimination plan or do anything with that. They understand that you have a receivable out there that's going to cover that cost. And then there was unrestricted deficit too in the Downtown Development Authority, which it was $89,000 last year, and now it's down to $21,000. So moving in the right direction and clearing out that deficit as well. Are there any questions that I could answer at this time? Rose knows how to get a hold of me if something comes up after the fact, and I'd be more than happy to answer it. I do appreciate her hard work, and her staff worked very hard and very cooperative, had everything ready for us, and we were able to get the audit finalized and printed, so.
I think we're all set. Anybody got any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. motion to approve the 2014 audit as presented by Yeo Yeo.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2014 audit as presented by Yeo Yeo CPAs and Business Consultants.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the audit presentation by Yeo Yeo. Anybody have any questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Approved. Next we have Resolution 15-09 MDOT Performance Resolution, road right of way.
Make a motion to approve the resolution R15-09 MDOT Performance Resolution, road right of way as presented. Support.
Motion been made and supported to approve Resolution 1509 on the MDOT Performance Resolution. Rose, would you care to comment on that?
Every year, the township has to fill out a permit for MDOT for any work that's done out there alongside of the expressway, cutting grass, planting flowers. This year, they're asking that we have the board approve a resolution to do the same thing, except they're requesting this time, every time we go out to cut in the right of way, that we need to notify them. And that's what this is all about. Every week.
Paperwork, that's all right.
Can we do it online? Oh, it doesn't work? Doesn't work very well. We'll be calling them. So that's what this is. Okay? Thanks.
Okay, do we have a roll call, please?
Thayer,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Miller, yes. Gutierrez is absent. Secord,
Yes.
Townsend.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Next, we have Resolution R15-10 Federal Surplus Assistance Program, Fire Department.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution R15-10 Federal Surplus Assistance Program for the fire department as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded to approve Resolution R15-10. And Chief Nelson, could you give us a brief rundown with that?
This program is similar but different to what they have for law enforcement. I can't tell you exactly what's out there, for instance, today, because I can't log in until this is all approved. But, for instance, in this program, there might be forestry service apparatus that's getting replaced. But they try and sell that apparatus. They don't just necessarily place it in surplus. It may still have a useful life and a value. So some of the stuff is free. Some of it, they might take a piece of apparatus and say, well, if we sold it, we could get $150,000 for it. And they'll make that available for a fee. So the fee might be 10% of whatever the assessed value is on the property. So some things would be free, some things wouldn't. Can't tell you how valuable it'll be to us until we finish the application and see what's out there. We may never use it, but if something comes available that's useful, it might be a good value for us, and it's worth it. There's no cost just to go through the process to become eligible, so it's worth it.
Chance to get some of our tax dollars back. Okay, can we have a roll call, please? Thank you, Ken.
Secord,
Yes.
Miller, yes. Thayer,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Gutierrez absent. Townsend.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay, next we have Resolution R15-11 Consumers Energy Easement.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution R15-11 designating Rose Lick to execute an easement with Consumers Energy.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve Resolution R15-11. Rose, could you explain?
We have property over by King and Studer. Consumers Energy would like to, as township owned, Consumers Energy wants to go in and do some cleaning of brush. Before they can enter on there, they need to get an easement from us. So this is a resolution that they actually prepared and asked that we bring it to the board.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Okay, we have a roll call, please.
Thayer,
Yes.
Gutierrez is absent. Miller, yes. Wilson,
Yes.
Secord,
Yes.
Townsend,
Yes.
motion is carried.
Next, we have revised FOIA Policy 11-01.
Make a motion to adopt the revision for FOIA Policy 11-01 as presented.
I'll second that.
Got a motion to adopt the revisions for the FOIA Policy 1101 as presented. There's some changes that the state made in the regulations for FOIA, basically. Any got any questions? Roll call, please.
Secord,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Miller, yes. Thayer,
Yes.
Gutierrez is absent. Townsend,
Yes.
motion is carried.
Next, we have Recreation Specialist Job Description, grant funding.
I'll make a motion to adopt the job description for the recreational specialist as presented.
Second.
Okay, everybody's had a chance to look that over, everybody, questions at all? They don't need to roll call on this one. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. We had a job description. Next, we have a accountant job description.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the job description for the accountant as presented.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to adopt the accountant job description as presented. Basically, we're going from a salary accountant who would manage part of the office to hourly accountant. So with that, we have to describe the policy for the job. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none.
Motion is carried.
Next, we have the Saginaw County Foreclosures 2015.
I'll make a motion not to accept any of the foreclosed parcels offered by the Saginaw County Treasurer.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to not accept any of the properties offered by the Saginaw County Treasurer. This is an annual thing. We don't want to get into the real estate business, obviously, so we'll go back and probably what we've got in the land bank. Any other questions? Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Next, we have Fire Department Social Media Policy.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the fire department social media policy as presented.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to adopt the Fire Department Social Media Policy as presented. This is similar in nature to what we did last month's meeting with the police. This month we're dealing with the Fire Department. And the same will hold true for the next one that we got coming up, so. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Fire Department Employment Policy.
I can make a motion to adopt the fire department employment policy as presented.
Second.
Thank you.
We have
motion made and seconded to adopt the fire department FOIA policy as presented. Like I said, it's basically follows the same process we did with the police department. No one has any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Got a policy. Next, we have the police department tourniquet policy.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the police department tourniquet policy as presented.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to adopt the tourniquet policy. Tourniquet policy. Dave, can you just give us a general overview?
Sure. The Saginaw County Police Chief Association applied for a grant through the 100 Club to provide each officer in the Saginaw County area with a tourniquet. But one of the requirements of the policy is, or to the grant, is that we, all the departments that are involved, enact a policy that says the officer is required to carry the tourniquet with them. And what is a tourniquet that the officer can self-apply to himself or someone else to help save lives? So that's what we're doing, is just enacting a policy that's going to require the officer to actually carry the tourniquet with them at all times.
Thank you. No one has any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion carried.
Next item on the agenda would be for us to appoint a trustee. And I'm going to ask that we move to accounts payable first.
I'd like to make a motion to approve check number 58320 through 58481 in the amount of $412,874.54 as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the payable checks 58320 through 58481, the amount of $412,874.54. Everyone had a chance to review those. Anyone have any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion is carried.
Paid bills. Next, we have appointment of a trustee. See, with Jimmy being appointed to the treasurer's position last month, that leaves the trustee position open. Everyone's had a copy, has a copy. Gentleman that talked to me is interested. Being highly recommended. We've all looked it over. With that, I would like to make a motion that we appoint Kelvin Williams to finish the term as trustee that would expire in November 20th, 2016.
Second.
Any discussion at all? We have a roll call, please.
Miller, yes. Gutierrez absent. Wilson,
Yes.
Thayer,
Yes.
Secord,
Yes.
Townsend.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Guess we better ask him if he's ready to accept it.
Sure.
You want to come up, please? Oh.
I'm up here pushing. All right, sir, are you going to accept this position?
Thank you, yes, yes.
Okay. I'd like to come a little closer here. I'll spread you in at this time, and I have a copy for you. You kind of follow along. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Township Trustee
of the office of Township Trustee
to expire November 20th, 2016.
to expire November 20, 2016,
In and for the Charter Township of Bridgeport,
and for the Charter Township of Bridgeport,
County of Saginaw,
County of Saginaw,
State of Michigan,
State of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir. You're officially on the board.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Yes, sir.
And if you'd like, when you're done,
Or do you have it here?
shake it. So go with it. For some of you that may not know Mr. Williams, he's retired department chair at Oakland Community College. He is, I don't want to embarrass you by reading all these things, but
Go ahead.
President of the Southfield Village Improvement Association, board member of the Children's Christmas Store, vice chair at Saginaw Board of Public Health, member of Health Source Advisory Board, member of Selected Service Board, Region 1. And he was also appointed by Cheryl Hatzel to the Saginaw County Planning Commission. He was also a fraternity brother of Walter Short. Anyone that's a good friend of Walter Short is a good friend of mine. Okay,
Welcome.
on with board comment.
We'll start with you, Mr. Williams. That's not even fair.
Well, I think I have a few comments. I'm excited about the opportunity to serve the Bridgeport Township and their officials as well as the resident of, is it on?
There it is.
There we go.
I'm excited to, for this opportunity to serve the township as well as the Bridgeport officials. I'm interested in moving the township forward in any way that I can with the support of the resident as well as the township official. With that said, hopefully I will be a very productive member of the township trustee board. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
I'd like to really thank Tracy today, because she,
Thank you, Tracy.
she helped me so much into understanding this new position and some of the rules and the regulations and setting up meetings with the people I had to meet with, and I could have never done it without her. Thanks, Tracy.
You're welcome.
She helped me look pretty good a lot of times, so that was very That's not easy
Oh, I
sometimes.
guess
Wasn't talking to you. Heather?
I didn't know I had to wear my boots this evening. Tracy is a true asset, and she helps in many more ways than just helping the treasurer. She's helped with festival and getting on permit and things like that, so. And always willing to answer my questions whenever I have them, which I usually always do, last minute. Anyways, next week, we have festival coming, and I don't know if you noticed, but we already started putting up, some cool fencing for the mud bogs, and the parade will be Thursday night. If anybody doesn't have a root canal, is that what he said going on? Wednesday, we'll be putting up snow fencing at noon on the school grounds, so if anybody wants to put up snow fencing, it's always a great time. The event schedule is up, bridgefestmi.com. Go up, see the volunteer, there's all the events. We have radio stations coming out all week. Lots of interviews and lots of good things going on in Bridgeport, including these beautiful flowers I saw go up on Dixie Highway. Thank you to the DDA for that. thank you again to the DDA for helping us with the fireworks this year. They're a huge supporter of that, so I don't know if anybody knows, but they do donate to the festival as well. Welcome aboard. I'm excited to have you. Your resume, when I saw that was a no-brainer. I'm excited to have you. I think you're gonna be an asset to
Well,
us.
thank you very much. I hope so too.
That's all I got.
You're up. Just want to say welcome aboard, Calvin, and I want to say thank you to the fire chief, police chief, and our staff and our township manager for the work they do in this township.
Welcome aboard. I'm glad we have you here.
Thank you very much.
Expecting a lot of good things from you, so. And thank you to our chiefs and the department heads and our staff. I mean, they are amazing, so that's what makes this job easier with all the work that they do, so we appreciate that, all of you.
Can I make a comment before you close?
You sure can.
My family came, my wife and my two granddaughters. We were in Atlanta to pick them up and bring them here to spend the summer with us. So it was a rush job, really to get back here.
You're here before festival, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I think that they came last year as well, and they was at the festival. So Dolores, Shelby, and Sydney, would you please stand?
Yeah, pretty young granddaughters.
Well, thank you.
You all set?
All set.
I just want to say that, yeah, everything is looking beautiful out there, the pretty green grass and pretty flowers we got going on, and the festival coming up. Haven't talked to Calvin yet about that, but I'm sure he'll be wanting to help out wherever he can.
Wednesday at noon.
Wednesday at noon?
I wouldn't know too much right away, but I need to be a little bit.
That's your next meeting.
It's moving Bridgeport forward, baby.
And if, but just while I'm thinking of it, if your wife wanted to get a reenactment picture of you taking the oath, we can do that too if you want to, but just as soon as the meeting's over.
Oh, okay.
Other than that, I suppose I ought to ask Rose if she's got something to say.
I do, I have a few things. Okay, MDOT, spoke with a gentleman this afternoon. By Saturday night, they plan on opening up King Road. Then Monday, they plan on closing Baker and Hess. So everybody will have to detour to King. We'll put that on our website. Tracy put it out on Constant Contact tomorrow, so we get that out to more people. Fire department, got one of their trucks, the Clint. They had two Clint's ladder trucks. One of them's up for sale now, so we've got that out there. Asking $165,000 for that. The fire station renovations coming on. Chief Nelson's working with Wolgast Design Group in regards to refurbishing the station. Wolgast will solicit the bids to general contractors, and then they will make their recommendation, and they'll oversee the project. So we have that going. Wastewater, I don't think they thought about the parade on Thursday night. They're having an open house down there. So I just want to share that if somebody has a desire to go to wastewater and have a tour of the plant as opposed to watching a parade. Dan asked me, because he wasn't able to make it tonight, that I share that with the board, that you guys are invited to come there Thursday at 6 o'clock.
Throwing candy or wastewater?
Yes, yeah. The smell of wastewater or the sweet candy? Okay, the airport road, I mentioned at the last meeting, the pump station is complete now. Consumers should have everything up and running, so looks good down there. Parks and Rec, through the grant that Bill got, that was approved tonight with the job description. He has one student from SVSU on board. Another one backed out after she was on board with us because of other commitments. So he's looking for one more person to bring in. Oh, I thought you were gonna say something. What's that? He did get another person? Okay, all right, great, so that's good to know. It's a summer camp. The grant that was received from Michigan Recreation Parks is in the amount of $13,500. that'll cover their wages, and it will cover any expenses. The grant is basically for children ages 8 to 15. It's to improve fitness, nutrition, and health for the residents. And it's run for about 8 weeks, so there'll be more information coming out on that. Parks and Rec, Bill Wheeler has about 104 kids participating in baseball, ranging from T-ball to 14 and under, so that's exciting. He's got that built back up there. Over Memorial Weekend, he had 16 teams playing out there being on our ball diamond, so that was good. And then, of course, Bridgeport softball coming up this weekend on June 5th and 6th. They will have more baseball going on. So he has his cheerleading through Parks and Rec that's winding down, 25 girls there. And they have performed for a charity event on May 30th. They're going to showcase for their families at the school on June 9th. They'll be in the Bridgeport Parade on June 11th. And the girls will be in their little cheerleading outfits, and they're adorable, ages little on up. We hired Jody DuRussell. She was not able to be here tonight as our accountant. That's what the job description was for, because she will be part-time. We have changed it from the accounting supervisor. She won't be overseeing staff. She'll be coming in part-time and doing our accounting and not have the other added responsibilities. So we'll see how that's gonna go part-time. Sidewalk inspections, last month you approved Agnew Construction to do our sidewalks this year. Ruthann has already started the inspections. They will start or work this project from the railroad tracks on Dixie Highway and Williamson Road. So coming from the railroad tracks this way, along with the village going around the whole loop here, down Dixie, Bearcat, and State, the streets in the village, Grant, Washington, Warren, I'm missing some, I think. There's a couple more, Sherman. And then they'll also go across the street then, and they'll go down Shreve, Chabelle, and Ramada. So those are the sidewalks area that's being targeted this year. Focusing around the school, people that are walking a lot of them, and then every year we'll be picking other areas to do. So that's coming. The water main, Darlene asked me about this tonight. The bill was submitted to us for the 3 projects under Tatum, King Road, and Baker to run the water main another 5 to 6 feet underground. So Rhodey's excavating, ran the boring under, and the bill was $182,000. That was not expected, and that is being submitted. I believe Ruthann said she submitted that already to the state, so we're hoping to get reimbursement for that. That should have been all under the feds and the state's project when they started to do I-75. Because they're covering that. We're looking to hire 1 full-time police officer in place of the 2 part-time. We did not have any luck with getting any part-time in here to fill the hours when Brent Green's over at the school working. And with Brent over there, that has really made an impact with the students, and it's really a benefit to our entire community. So we don't have to tie any officers up. He's over there. The kids like him. Been good things that he's been doing. He's bringing in some programs and working with the kids, and he's doing good. So we are looking for a full-time person, being we can find 2 part-time. Community, the 2nd annual community yard sales going on this weekend on Saturday from 9 to 4. If anybody wants to participate in that, the map's already been put out there. I think there's 20, 21 addresses. A lot of people, I'm sure, will still hop on board with it. They just won't be on the map. But as people are going through the community, they'll see their signs. So, building administrator Ron Wheatley's buried at this time of the year with blight and weeds and so forth. Ruthann's handling the weeds, but a lot of the calls are coming into our office. Ron's handling a lot of them. I believe right now, based on the count that I was provided, we have probably around 200 weed complaints right now, and we have about 100 blight complaints. So Ruthann's going out and her guys checking the weed stuff, and Ron's trying to handle the blight with the help of the girls down in the office and so forth. So it's quite an ordeal right now. So just for everybody, just be patient with him on what he's trying to accomplish. We're hoping to do something a little bit different next year on the weeds, and I'll bring that to you closer to the end of the year when we talk more about that. So right now, we're sending letters to everybody, we're giving them time to cut, and I'm not so sure that we shouldn't change it for next year when it deals with the people that are the same people every year not cutting their grass. And Mr. Williams, I know, cut his neighbor's grass down the street from him because they kind of just walk away from the home and it looked horrible. So I know it's getting up there. I was through there again.
Yes.
So, but thank you for helping us do that.
You're quite welcome.
DBA Flowers, it's really, driving down the Dixie Highway, it just really makes you proud to be in Bridgeport. I know Mary McGregor was in talking with Steve Dovis and sharing her appreciation on how beautiful our community looks right now, and wait till those flowers flourish and they start coming over those pots, and it's just gonna be so pretty. So thanks to the DBA and Steve for working hard on that. McNally Chapel, see Daryl and his wife there this weekend. They had the dedication for the McNally's Chapel over there in the historical village. It's beautiful. They had a nice turnout, very nice dedication service, so that was open for everybody. Graduation, rain, downpour at the end of graduation. Our officers were out there directing traffic in downpour and rain. It was awful. It was awful. But they were doing a good job, and yeah, that field cleared really fast. Probably the fastest ever after a graduation ceremony, so people didn't get all their pictures and stuff because they were wet. Good news with LB Transportation. They're currently located in Zilwaukee, Bridgeview Park, and they are going to relocate here to Bridgeport. And they're going to be going into the old Superfoods Nash Finch building. They're going to lease space there. They outgrew the facility in Zilwaukee, so of course we welcome them here. They have contacted Saginaw Future to talk about some type of an assistance that they want to apply for, and it's called an Industrial Development District Tax Abatement. Saginaw Future shared with them that Bridgeport Township has been very open and good working with businesses, and I assured him that still remains. So when they come and they're looking for that, I hope that you will support that. They have 160 employees who bring to Bridgeport, and as they grow more, they plan on adding more, so we're excited. And that's transportation semis. They'll be storing stuff back in their warehouse if they need to store things before getting it someplace, if there's some kind of deal going on there, so it's a big thing. The house on the corner of Tower Line and Jim Drive, I talked with County Land Bank again, because it is owned by them. It was going to be demoed, and we thought it was going to be demoed before now, but it didn't happen. They assured me that it's going to be done sometime this summer. Don't have a date. They just said it's on their list. Our guy was over there, Vic Hubbard, from our summer seasonal staff, cutting it today. So just so that you guys know that. And then I want to read a thank you card that comes from Walter's wife. It says, "You're so nice. Bridgeport Township Board, you didn't have to do what you did, and that's what made it so special. Thank you for your words of kindness and continued support as I find my way. Having you there to answer questions and share with has helped." Signed, Margaret and her children. And then I want to share with you an email that was shared with me by a gentleman. It was actually shared by Chief Duffett to me, but I want to read it. I want everybody in our residents and so forth to hear this. It's from Matt Hook, and it's in regards to our police officer, Charlie Price, and it's addressed Chief. I just wanted to write you a letter in regards to my interaction this morning with Officer Price. I was detoured off of I-75 onto Dixie Highway through Bridgeport this morning. Like many travelers that take 75, I was fairly unfamiliar with the route through your township. I found myself traveling over the speed limit. That is when Officer Price initiated a traffic stop on me. He approached my vehicle and he was very friendly. I made him aware that I had a concealed weapon in my car, and I also apologized for being over the speed limit, as I was unaware of the speed limit in the area, which is no excuse. I wanted to commend you and your department on the actions of your officer. He could have very easily been in a bad mood and written me a ticket without question. He was kind, courteous, and very professional. I'm now well aware of the speed limits on the Dixie Highway through your township. Hopefully I have no more future interactions with your officers in regards to speed, but if I do, I know I will be treated with the same respect and courtesy as Officer Price afforded me. Please let Officer Price know that I very much appreciate his professionalism and letting me off with a warning. When Chief Duffett got this, we responded back to him, thanking him for acknowledging the professionalism of Officer Price. He said that he too is proud of our officers, but in the current climate of our media, it's refreshing to hear the public that recognizes the job our officers do. The gentleman responded back and said, I am a public servant as well. I'm a firefighter with the city of Lansing, and I know that this is mostly a thankless job. People don't understand what we do until they need our services. It makes me feel good to let our brothers and sisters on the job know that at least we can appreciate each other and what we do. That's it. It goes on a little bit more, but I want to share that because really of everything that's going on, it is a thankless job for both our chiefs and the times that they put out there with their guys, and I just thought it was important to share that. Officer Kazmika was given a nice compliment on the testimony that he had to be involved in court. It was a preliminary trial on a home invasion here in Bridgeport, and the bailiff made a note of thanking Dave Duffett and letting him be aware of how well Mr. Kazmika, Officer Kazmika, conducted himself and wouldn't change any way that he handled his appearance and his work that he did when he was in court. So that's one of our newest officers on, so that was a nice compliment. And then I want to welcome Calvin. He's worked with us for years. Emails mainly. He'll question things. Why is there no lights under I-75? And the lights burned out over on Sun Valley and Galaxy, and just different things that he'll ask questions on, and it's so important, the interaction, and I'm glad he's with us, and the involvement that he had before, and loving our community, and being there, neighborhood watch, just talking about everything that we've corresponded back and forth. It's just an honor to have you here, so thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all I have.
And now that he's on board, he'll be able to fix all of those things. All done. I'm sure he'll put a lot of effort into whatever it may be. I just want to expand a little bit, because I don't know if some people understand the circumstance with the water mains that we went through. And I know you touched on it. But apparently when the expressway was built, water mains were there at the time. And the explanation that we got is that with them expanding the expressway, the water mains had to be deeper than what they used to have to be or whatever, because they put plates over them where the trucks would be going, or because of the trucks driving on with weight and all that kind of stuff. So they were only like 5 or 6 feet deep. Univis had the same situation. I think 4 or 5 of them, I don't recall exactly, but they're going through the same process that we are. And we had discussion on it, and obviously it's something that we felt should have been included when the project was bid out by the state. So hopefully we're going to get successful in having them pick up the tab for that one. You mentioned the ball fields, and Bill Willer's worked very hard. He's not here tonight, but we've had a couple of traveling leagues now that are interested in coming to Bridgeport and running their tournaments here. Our ball fields we've got them now in excellent shape. We should all be proud that we have a facility like that. Another issue is the grass blight, those kind of things. I know Ron gets tired of seeing me coming, I think, sometimes, but he is very busy, and they're working very hard at getting those things taken care of. But it's like dandelions, you get these 2, knocked off, and then 4 or 5 more pop up, it seems. So, and we've had discussion, like Rose said, it's some people that are habitual offenders. They constantly don't bother to cut the grass, or whatever the case may be. Now there's been a few people that have been given citations. And as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure the rest of the board will agree, it's about time for some of these people. I think the first one was $145, and then the next one is $250. And it's just my feeling that if I've cut grass for neighbors, Kelvin's done those kind of things, and if somebody's got an issue, contact us, let us know. We'll be glad to help out in any way we can, but if, I've said it before, if you wanna live like a pig, go someplace where pigs live or something. It's, we don't need those people in Bridgeport, so hopefully, some people start to get the message. So with that, motion to adjourn will be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, thank you.
What?
Very good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.